If you are a programmer, you know that the code editors play a major role in making you a productive programmer. There are so many of them available out there. I have personally tried a bunch of them, from Vim to SUBLIME Text to Atom to VS Code and even many other online code editors. But every time I move to a different code editor, I find myself falling back to this one particular beast, and the beast is VS Code.
Hello, what's good you people? Welcome back. So, as you guys might have guessed it, in this video we are going to look at why VS Code is the best code editor out there in the market. And instead of just pointing out all the positives or that is pros of VS Code, I thought of making you understand why VS Code is actually the better code editor compared to all other options available in the market. And I guess comparing it with other code editors out there will be a better option for you guys to understand. And without further delay, let's start the video. If you are active in the developer communities and platforms and forums, you get to know that StackOverflow, which is one of the biggest developer Q&A platforms out there, publish a survey results every year. And for the previous year, for 2021, they published a survey result for the most used and most favorite development tools of all time, like for the year of 2021. And on this list, we got Vim Editor, SUBLIME Text, VS Code, Atom, and NOTEPAD++. And there are many other IDs involved in this list, but for the context of this video, I guess we can leave the IDs and consider only the text editors. If you are a developer or programmer watching this video, I'm sure you might have heard of Vim Editor, right? And Vim is one of the best editors you can choose if you really want to become the most productive programmer. And you can't go wrong with Vim basically, because Vim is specifically built for programmers and to make them efficient. And even if you want, you can just throw away your mouse like this. Yeah, I got it. I didn't let it drop. So the biggest issue for me with Vim Editor is that it's quite hard to learn. There are so many key bindings and there are so many shortcuts. There is a huge learning curve involved, and I'm sure it will take at least a month or two for you guys to get accustomed to Vim and get used to the editor itself. And considering the fact that it is so good in all these conditions and making you as a productive programmer, you have to make some excuses, you have to make some sacrifices, right? And the biggest sacrifice you have to make for Vim to get all these goodness is that good lookness. And good looks will not come with Vim, because obviously UI is not as good as any other text editor you can compare with, because Vim is very basic, it's simple, lightweight, it can run your code in a matter of few seconds, but all this comes at the cost of good looks. And Vim, I don't think it can even match up with VS Code or SUBLIME Text, because those two guys have really good UI compared to Vim, and Vim is like very bare bones code editor. VS Code is my favorite code editor, so I might be like a little bit biased towards it, but still I completely agree with the fact that it is the most used code editor out there, and it is one of the best code editors for developers. And considering the fact that VS Code has its own inbuilt debuggers with it, you can actually debug the code while you are typing, which is a very big plus sign. And also IntelliSense is basically, it's kind of addition to all these things, and it is basically a smart prediction thingy which lets you to auto-complete the code, and it predicts what you're going to type and it will auto-complete it for you, which comes really handy while you're coding basically. And it is a really big plus sign again. And considering all these things, my favorite thing about VS Code is that it actually suggests me what to do. And if I made some mistake over there, it will tell me that, boss, you have made some mistake over there, and I guess you can make some changes there. And even if I made some, if I missed some const variables, it will point it out like, boss, I think you can add some const variable over there so that you can manage some memory space, save some memory space. So all these things are very good with VS Code. And also they have some really good keyboard shortcuts which you can use, which is one of the best keyboard shortcuts I would say, in considering all the key bindings there. And it is quite simple to learn. They have their own PDF sheets, you can download it and you can learn it from there, and which are really functional basically.
VS Code has a separate marketplace for extensions. There are tons of extensions there, and this one feature makes it much better than other popular alternatives in the market. And you can also customize VS Code either by yourself, or you can install some extensions and customize it. And Git version control is inbuilt, so you don't have to write and remember the Git commands anymore, and VS Code will allow you to do it easily.
I have used Sublime Text for years and it's a really good code editor. It has really good UI, it has very good key bindings, because even with VS Code there is an extension which you can install and it will import all the key bindings of Sublime Text to VS Code, and you can use VS Code as if you are using Sublime Text, which is very good. And because why I'm saying this is that VS Code has its own key bindings, but compared to Sublime Text I would always prefer Sublime Text because they have sorted it out properly. And also the drawback with Sublime Text is that it's pretty bad with Git integrations. It has no terminal, and there are many other couple of drawbacks, like that it's hard to find the packages and extensions for any particular process you want to do. So all these nitty-gritty restrictions and resistance and friction, all these things make it a bit lesser than VS Code. But nonetheless, it's one of my favorites code editors out there. Even if if I want to do something small, like make some changes to the code, or even if I want to make some Python code or C++ code, my go-to option is Sublime Text because it's lightweight, it is simple to use. You can open the code in a matter of few seconds. It's like I would say it's next to Vim editor because it's much faster than VS Code. VS Code takes quite amount of time to open, and considering the fact that I don't want to make some really big changes or dramatic changes, I think VS Code is a bit overkill over there, and Sublime Text works the best in that case. Atom. I don't think Atom is a really code editor of any choice because I haven't personally felt comfortable with Atom as compared to VS Code, and I don't know why, because Atom is, you need to make a lot of configurations for Atom out of the box, unlike VS Code. For VS Code, it's out of the box usable and no configurations required, very minimum configurations, let's say. You need to do some configurations anyway, but still it's very minimum. But with Atom, I think you have to make a quite number of configurations. And also considering the fact that Atom hasn't distinguished itself from VS Code in any way, I find both of these two editors very similar to each other, and that may be because Atom is built by GitHub, VS Code is built by Microsoft, and now GitHub is owned by Microsoft. You see the connection? So I don't think Atom is really good in terms of any ways, because once if you are going for Atom, I would probably suggest you to go with VS Code, because both are kind of similar, and considering that you have to make some extra configurations with Atom, it's obviously a good idea to go with VS Code, right? The final and the last code editor to stand and compete against VS Code is NOTEPAD++. And I don't have much to say about this editor because my experience with NOTEPAD++ is quite weird, and the story started with me using NOTEPAD++ back in my UG college labs. The professor suggested us to use this editor. Until date, I don't know why they suggested us to use this specific editor, but they did so, and I used it multiple times in the lab, and from day one I didn't like the usability of it. I didn't like the interface. There are so many things that NOTEPAD++ lacks compared to VS Code, and VS Code is checked all the boxes from good UI, good usability, terminal is there is good keyboard bindings, and all these things and parameters considered, I don't think NOTEPAD++ stands a chance against VS Code in comparisons. So I personally don't like NOTEPAD++ in these cases, but still there are really good users out there using NOTEPAD++. Good for them because they found it useful. So but still, for me personally, I don't think NOTEPAD++ is anywhere near to VS Code in any terms. Considering all the parameters from speed, usability, customization, optimization, stickiness, as you all might have guessed it, the winner is VS Code. Because VS Code has ticked most of the boxes here. It has really good development tools for a programmer or a developer, and it has really good UI, it has really good terminal inbuilt, it has really good debuggers inbuilt, and all these things considered, I would definitely award VS Code as the winner.
And next to VS Code,
I would say Sublime Text, because Sublime Text is really good in terms of UI, it is really good in terms of stickiness, and it is really good in terms of shortcuts and keyboard binding. And apart from that, all these code editors which I mentioned in this list are really good. If you want, you can try it out. Initially, I resisted shifting from Sublime Text to VS Code, but finally, one fine day, I shifted to VS Code, and I can say that it has definitely changed the way I code, and it has helped me become a more productive programmer. And if you guys haven't tried out VS Code, just give it a few shots, and I'm sure once you get used to it, you will not go back to other text editors. And that said, code editors are your weapon of choice. So choose the code editor which is very good and which you are comfortable working with. And that's it for me today in this video, and I will see you guys next one. Until then, bye bye.